Hey everybody, Robbie with Radio Control Headquarters. How's everybody doing? Good, I hope. Doing pretty well myself today. Boss let me run the air conditioner. I wanted to give everybody an update. Today is March 31st. We're 7 days into this and we're still here. We're still moving along. We've been able to satisfy a lot of orders. Our curbside pickup contactless is working pretty darn well. And we've been able to take care of quite a few people over the phone. So if there's something we can do for you, don't hesitate to give me a call, 210-651-0435. So all in all, everything's nominal here. We're still operational. Really not a whole lot different. Sort of starting to set into a pattern of business in today's environment. Did want to take a couple of minutes to talk about something I enjoy today. If you got a couple of minutes, let's talk about airplanes. Airplanes to me has been one of probably the single most challenging thing that I've gotten into as far as RC. Probably much more so than drones, definitely cars. And for some reason or another, I just wasn't wired to an airplane. I wanted to try it, like a lot of people. My first airplane I picked out was a Delta Wing 70 mile an hour F-27 F something or another. And of course, that lasted about 4 to 5 seconds. From there, I moved up to a pusher style airplane that I actually was flying, lost control of, crashed it into a basketball court where there was a bunch of people playing basketball. And I brought it in right where those guys were playing. And let's just say I got it back, or I got the pieces back, but not without not without a little bit of grief first. I can remember flying an airplane, people were watching me, and someone said, "Hey, you're getting kind of good at it." And I promptly immediately flew it into the group of people that were watching me. "What's wrong with you?" Another airplane I put into a death spiral, crashed it into a mini storage lot, where a couple of guys were loading up a storage unit. It just has been a lot of trial and error for me. I guess that was probably about 15 years ago or so when I got started. Historically, RCHQ really wasn't into airplanes. We had Second Chance Hobbies that was Jim Rice's store that had been around a long time. It was only 5 or 6 miles from here. So if anybody needed anything with an airplane, I would send them over to Jim. If anybody needed anything with a car, Jim would send them over here. And, it was good synergy. And Jim's a great guy if you haven't met him. We kept going like that until Jim closed. And he and I got to talking. We decided we'd get into the airplane business and, maybe pick up a little bit, some of the slack. We did pretty good with it for a while. And then Hobby King and China, just, all of the problems with the model aircraft industry set in. But lately we're finding that airplanes are coming back pretty darn strong. So kind of get into it here real quick. I was going to give you a quick product feature, but I want to give you a little background first. I was in Monticello, Illinois at Horizon Hobbies, big RC fest last year. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of when it was. Sometime in the June, July time frame. And they had a thing called RC Fest along with a big vendor presentation that a bunch of us went up to, and by far, they had everything there. They had an off-road track running, they had mud bogs, and just anything you could name as far as RC goes. Drag racing. Well, actually, I don't think they had drag racing, but they had a tractor pull, and it was pretty heavy-duty stuff. By far, the most heavily attended thing that was going on was the model aircraft. The biggest crowds were there the entire time that I was there. It was pretty amazing, and they had some top-notch pilots there. This product right here is an AeroScout 1.1. It was there. I didn't pay the least bit attention to it. And one of the things about being out there at RC Fest, it's out in the cornfield, it was windy. I mean, it was windy, and no time at all, airplanes were getting wadded up. There was a whole lot of trouble. Anyways, we were talking I was talking to one of the product specialists there, and he mentioned this airplane to me and said, hey, down at the end of the runway, at the very end of the event, there's a guy down there that we gave 3 or 4 of them to. You ought to go talk to him, see if he'll let you fly one of them. I got down there, and this gentleman drives around in like a transit van teaching people how to fly model aircraft. And he was using an airplane before this. What the heck? It was apprentice. And it was too windy, so his apprentices were grounded. He had 3 of these things sitting underneath his table that Jason from Horizon had sold him, loaned him, whatever. And I was chit-chatting with him, and as we were talking, a little girl came walking up. He immediately started ignoring me, asked the little girl if she'd ever flown a model airplane before. No. And he said, would you like to fly a model airplane? And she said, no. And he's like, oh, come on, give it a try. So we grabbed this model, this airplane, took off, put it up about 75 feet, 100 feet in the air, and just hung it there like a kite. It was that windy where it was just basically hovering over the top of us. He gave the little girl some basic instructions on how it worked and handed her the radio. Yeah, I'm not kidding. The airplane was that stable. It tracks that well. It just more or less sat there. And as he was instructing her how to use it, he'd say, you know, as the airplane drifted a little bit over to the right, he'd say, okay, take the right stick and move it to the left, a little more, okay, stop. And it would drift over to the left, okay, move it to the right. And then he had her adjusting her elevation, everything with just the right stick. And she was flying the airplane. In no time at all, he had her doing a loop around and then both different directions. And after, I don't know, 5, 6, 10 minutes, whatever it was, he grabbed it back from her and landed it. And I was sold. It's been my favorite airplane ever since. It goes for $199. I know it isn't much to look at. We've seen a lot of airplanes like this before, but just to kind of give you an idea of what this thing's about, this one's, here's one out of the box to kind of give you an idea. Got some weight to it. And of course, it's got all of Horizon's safe technology built into it. So you have your very basic level and intermediate, where it still gives you some control, more control of the airplane, and then you can get it to a spot where it takes it out. Takes most of that out, and you can fly it a lot. You know, you can do a lot more aerobatics and stuff with it. But as you can see, it's a pusher, which is great because that keeps your running gear, your prop shaft, your motor, your firewall, and all on the back of the airplane. So when you do crash it, okay, it's going to minimize the damage to it. Tricycle landing gear makes it more stable taking off. This is a park flyer, so the goal is most people are going to be flying this thing off of the grass. But it's stable, it's fun. It comes with a LiPo battery. It's got their new smart ESC system inside of it. You have to have have it hooked up to your phone or use one of their radios to be able to get all the telemetry off of it. But it's embedded, which is pretty cool. It's a lot of airplane for $199. Has a charger, of course, that comes with it. So everything you need to get this thing up off of the ground, it comes with. I have one, and it really is fun to fly. I haven't gotten out with my grandsons yet, but I'm going to real soon. This is going to be their first airplane. You hear me, boys? We got to get out and fly. And I do believe that there are places where you could parks and open areas where you can still out and get where you can fly airplanes. So, anyways, that's called wait, there we go. Let's get it right here. It's the Aero Scout 1.1. So great airplane to get started with. Just want to make sure everybody understands they don't fly themselves. No matter how you want to market these, you still have to be able to do the basic commands of flying an airplane. If you don't and you crash it, then, you know, kind of that scenario where, well, you can repair them. That's the nice thing about foam airplanes. I guess I'll wrap up with that. With most foam airplanes, you can, and I know because I fly a lot of foam. In fact, I get teased about how much foam I fly. You can glue the airplanes back together. There's a CA glue. It's like super glue, Cirrocinatic. Correct me if that's not right. But you take like 2 pieces of an airplane, you put the glue on one side, you put the accelerator on the other, slam them together. I mean, within seconds, you can put the airplane back up in the air. Big brakes, you want to use some epoxy, and then packing tape works pretty good as well. But anyhow, that's enough for right now. That's our product feature today. We're going to do more airplanes. Airplanes are genuinely fun. There's a, not to sound too corny, but there's a freedom associated with it. You know, it's flying. So anyways, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I hope everyone's well. Stay safe.